Happy MLK Day and welcome to another episode of Talk That Tech, the
Number one tech morning show in the world.
numero
Yes,
uno, man.
indeed.
We are here, man. We are here. I'm gonna just say it right now. This is the latest start that we ever had, and I'm gonna put it on me. The sleep was sweet, and my alarm clock did something funky to me today. It's decided to wake me up on the dot, versus waking me up earlier, and so I got to take that one. So hopefully y'all come back around. Hopefully you guys didn't think that we are out for today. We are rocking and rolling today. We actually have a special
We
guest
still
in the
on.
waiting room. So yeah,
Yes, indeed. We still on today. It's all good, man. Sometimes, you got to get a little extra in, you know. I was sitting over here struggling with my camera, it is what it is, but we on. we on.
we're on and popping and rocking. So yeah, man, thank you so much for y'all for rocking with us. And like always, I want to know where you're tuning in from. So if you're tuning in from Miami, if you're tuning in from the good old state of Nevada, let us know in the comment section below. I say that because two of our guests that are already here are from those states, so definitely appreciate that. We got Darcel in the building. What up, Darcel? Let me do roll call first. We got Ty Smith in the building, who actually is going to be speaking today as well about a particular subject that we have put in the thumbnail. So you probably know what's going on there. And we got Tech Coach Ralph in the building as well. He says, "Good morning, fellas. Good morning, fellas." Listen, some people may have not realized that we are exclusively on YouTube now. So if you could forward it to anybody that you know, that would be dope as well. And I wanted to say this before we get started, man. Appreciate you guys rocking with us on a holiday. Y'all could be sleeping in like my body was trying to do, but you are up here rocking with us at 7 a.m. on a holiday on MLK Day. So we definitely appreciate y'all.
Real ones, man. Real ones.
The real ones are here. So before I get into it, Trey, how was your weekend?
The weekend was Mm, it was pretty good, bro. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Didn't get to do as much as like I'm starting to realize now, bro, not getting to do as much as I used to on my weekends, but nonetheless, I still got to test out some stuff, still got to just kind of get a little bit done, but not much on the like event side really. We
Mm,
went to dinner Saturday, went to dinner. uh Sunday just went to church, and then what was that? I was able to see a few of the games, bro. I was able to catch a few of the football games that was out. Not all of it, but a good majority, enough to know who won, you know what I mean?
yeah.
um But yeah, that's kind of my weekend there, bro. How was yours?
My weekend wasn't bad. Y'all put how your weekend was in the chat. We want to hear from you as well. But my weekend wasn't bad. What happened? Well, I wouldn't say it was bad, even though some people might consider it to be a little bad. I would say around Thursday, our third youngest son came home saying his stomach wasn't feeling good, threw up in the car, threw up in the house,
Mm,
and he threw up multiple times throughout the night, probably 5 times. And then another child felt the same thing, and then my daughter felt something, and then another child, and so my wife got feeling not good, and so whatever that
ah,
stomach bug that's going around, they got it. But thankfully, myself and one other child, we were good. Two other children actually were good, in regards to that. So it was pretty much quarantine time for us, staying home. And it happened to be snowing yesterday, so I went out to shovel, and I looked
mm.
outside this morning. I got shovel again, but but that was my weekend. It was all about quarantining and shoveling snow. So if y'all had any similar things, let us know in the comment section below. Now I'm gonna say it again. I put it up earlier here, and we actually have a guest on the show that I'm not gonna delay joining us in a few minutes. But I want to say this is a call-in show today. If we talk about one topic today alone, that is totally fine. We want you to come on the show. You don't have to show your face, but you could talk about it, share your opinions, share what we're talking about today. And I have none other than the man himself, who's going to be joining us in a minute. Uh, and I want you guys to get ready because you could be on here too. You don't have to necessarily put on the camera, but again, you could be on here too. We got none other than Ty Smith in the building. What up, Ty? How you doing, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
It's
What's
going
up?
great,
What's
great. How
up?
before we get started, how was your weekend?
Yeah, it was definitely good. Finally home for a weekend. Been a lot of traveling last year, but this year we're definitely just starting off a little lighter, and we just want to just enjoy just being at home, enjoying being in Vegas, and yeah, just happy to not be around all that winter stuff that everyone's dealing with.
Oh man, I
I don't
hear you
blame
on
you.
that. It's cold here, but no snow. I don't know, Joseph. That's one thing I don't know if I could do, man. Shoveling before I had to leave somewhere and stuff like that. That just uh sounds bad, man.
I thought you guys had snow though. Didn't you guys have snow like last week or something?
Yeah, but it was like Friday. Like I mean, what was it? Friday, and then it was gone mostly. Like the roads were clear. You could see the road Saturday. It was just like in
Oh,
the grass a little bit. You know what I mean? Um, but it's always a big deal in Texas because we don't get it that often or a lot. So yeah, it was pretty I guess newsworthy, but it wasn't too crazy.
okay, gotcha. Well, listen here.
I was in the house. I wasn't leaving. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's how I feel too. It's just the fact that we had the amount of snow we had. I think it was like 2 feet, probably maybe almost 3 feet. So it's not that crazy, but it's crazy enough that I have to shovel. I can't wait to let it subside.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're gonna talk about it. And I want to make sure that we get a chance to talk about this particular subject, which is our TikTok ban update. We've been talking about this series for a while. This is why a lot of people are here on this MLK Day to talk about this particular subject because it's one that has multiple layers, as was mentioned in the chat, in the conversations I should say I had with not only Trey but Ty, and we're gonna definitely dive into that story real quick here. But just for those who are not aware of what happened this weekend, so TikTok resumed services in the U.S. after a brief shutdown. And I'm gonna go through the show notes real quickly here, and then we get started in discussion. But TikTok has reinstated its service in the United States following a temporary shutdown prompted by legal and political challenges. Here are a few key developments. In fact, I'm going to pass it over to you, Trey, as this is your segment, and then we're going to kind of dive in from there.
Yeah, for sure, man. So obviously, I mean, if you must have been on the rock if you didn't know what's been going on, what's been brewing up. But I mean, for those who have been under a rock, I guess we'll run it down. But number one, they just went ahead and did the voluntary shutdown. Okay, so basically late Saturday night, 7:30, 8:30 Eastern, depending on where you are. Um, Basically, they upheld the law and they banned the app due to concerns about the app's ties to China. And basically, you saw a message. If you were on there or you peeked in or you tried to get on, you saw a message that let you know everything, and they gave you two options: close the app or I think learn more or something like that. But anyways, how long was it? It was like 14 hours before they basically came back up. And why did they come back up or how? I don't know, but here's what they said. They said President-elect Donald Trump, he announced some plans to issue an executive order today. And that was going to delay the enforcement of the ban. And that his intervention is what really happened. And that's caused them to go ahead and start getting stuff back up. Now, real quick caveat, I don't know if y'all knew this, but there were some people who when it got banned the first, like when it went down, they like deleted the app. And so then when it came back up, they had no way to to get back on the app because it wasn't on the like the provider. So I don't know if they got that fixed or squared away, but I do know some people they were pretty upset about that. Like they literally deleted that. But anyways, here's what happened, y'all. Trump, he has proposed an extension. So Trump has indicated that TikTok will most likely be granted a 90-day extension. And then that's gonna resolve the issues surrounding like the ownership and compliance. And what they're looking to do is have some sort of at least 50% American ownership. So it went from, hey, 100% like somebody from US needs to own this app, to now Trump is expressing interest in making sure that TikTok has at least 50% American ownership as a part of that negotiated agreement. So we'll see what happens there. It looks like the CEO of TikTok is going to go to Trump's inauguration today, and potentially that's letting some people know, like, hey, they're more than likely going to be talking about this app and things to go for it. So it's still kind of up in the air right now. It's still, who knows, but we'll see what they end up doing. We'll see. Oh man, did you get Joseph? Did you get any of those memes I sent you yesterday? I forgot.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I downloaded.
It's
That's
probably
why.
too late. Oh, okay. No
But
worries. No worries.
we'll do the course of the show. I'm actually going to pause here to see if y'all let us know what you think in the comment section. But I'm going to pause here before I even say something, because I want to bring in our guest. He's been waiting a long time, and I want to make sure that he has the opportunity to share some thoughts that he has about this particular subject, because I thought it was very interesting. So I'm going to pass it over to Ty, and then I'm going to get your responses as well before I say anything, y'all.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I appreciate you having me. It's 4 a.m. in Vegas, so happy to be here. But yeah, no,
Boys up.
yeah, I know, right? This topic is super interesting. I think that, for me, the most interesting thing that is going on is really just a lot of the lobbying behind the scenes, because, you have to really look at, like, who really benefits from this whole thing. I mean, do we as consumers and TikTok users benefit, whether it's American owned or whether it's owned by, an entity in China or whichever, it's difficult for us to say, but from user experience, I don't know if it truly benefits us. Um, but, but when we're talking about, when we're talking about, like actually bringing in American companies in to purchase it and have a stake in it and all of that, I mean, is there really a benefit for us there either, right? Like, is it going to create new jobs? Like, there's already people in America that have jobs at TikTok, plenty of jobs. I mean, like, I'm in the conference route and I see TikTok largely at more of conferences for our community, the African American community, than any other company. I mean, TikTok sponsors
Facts.
literally almost every single, Black Tech conference. I could actually name about 15 to 20 like Black-owned conferences and events that TikTok sponsors throughout the year. That's far outweighs anything that Meta does, far outweighs anything that Twitter does, which Twitter is like less than one, by the way. So it just facts there. So,
That's
but
hilarious.
but I think that the interesting thing for people to look at is just the interesting lobbying efforts that were going on. There was a Washington Post article that came out in 2022 that really talked about it, how Facebook hired a lobbying company called Targeted Victory. This is all in the Washington Post article. You can actually go and look it up. Google Washington Post, Targeted Victory. The Guardian wrote something about this, because if you go to Washington Post, it's paywalled, so you may not be able to read the article. But other entities have covered it, like Vanity Fair, etc. And it basically talks about the fact that like Facebook put up like record numbers in like lobbying efforts. Like they literally doubled their spend on lobbying year over year from 2021 to 2022. And then going into 2023, continuing the same amount of number, specifically to put out stories on their own platform and to amplify stories that highlighted the dangers of TikTok, and that kind of proliferated into our scope, but it also, in the same way, proliferated through the entire, just lawmakers that we have out in DC and Congress and the Senate and et cetera, which really helped to steamroll this whole thing. So, would this have happened if there was no lobbying? We don't know. I mean, TikTok did counter lobby, so there was millions spent over there, in the single digits of millions. But I think these are things to really think about, that like, yes, we're watching this stuff play out, but there are companies in DC behind the scenes, really juggling with millions and millions of dollars to try to influence all of us in this whole thing. And in the end, does it really matter? Because that's the questions that we have to ask, because the outcome is kind of the same. We're still going to be using the app. We're still going to be doing what we're doing. Just the money's flowing to different places.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
really
Go ahead,
that's
Ty.
really
Go
what
ahead, Ty.
matters. No, that's really what matters to them. Like, where's that money flowing? But for us, I think maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if we had these same type of deals, like I guess technically we would have this information, but what I mean is like, back in the day, it was a lot of the information that we're privy to now and the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. We just didn't have it back in the day. So, everyday people, they were just going on with their lives until something just went away or until something happened. And then it hit the newspapers and all this stuff. But, being able to watch it real time and get into the mix of it, right? I mean, that changes a lot. But I agree with you, man. It's interesting to see what's going to happen over in the end. But ultimately, more than likely, we'll probably continue on like we have. And there'll just be some changes behind the scenes that, that we won't also be privy to or get any upside on. But crazy stuff.
Yeah. Crazy indeed. Crazy indeed. I'm going to go to Tech Coach Ralph's comment right here. He says, I don't like the idea of content creators losing ability to make money and employees losing their jobs. I think working something out is a good thing. And I totally agree with that. And that's one of the things I was going to say before I interrupted Ty and put on this funny little meme here that Trey sent me about me on January 19th at TikTok's funeral. That was the reason. That's actually probably with some content creators, man. Some content creators were they lost their income, primary source of income in this whole situation. And even though that is funny to look at, the truth be told, that's exactly what you were saying is right there that happened. I saw a lot of content creators giving their confessions as well as they were closing out TikTok, and they were saying some things that really kind of if they came back to the brand, kind of messed up their brand. Some people said, "Hey, I do mukbangs. Guess what? I don't eat all the food." Some people say I don't like coffee, and their whole thing is about coffee. So it was just one of those interesting things because after that shutdown, you kind of realize people had that moment of time where it's like, "Oh my goodness, this is really going to affect me moving forward on a personal level." And I want to go back to something you said. 170 million United States users. That's more than half of the United States population, if my math was correct, or about the amount of the United States population, at least half of it. And so, talking about affecting a lot of people, there's a lot of people that really depended on it, whether they had a TikTok, part of a TikTok shop or affiliation, or actually was really getting paid by it. This was something that was impactful. So to see that reversal happen in such a way. A part of me, and I'm going to just be quite frank, is thinking, man, Trump is smart from the coin to bringing back TikTok. He's knowing how to win people's hearts over. And that's a part of me that feels like as a political move, I could see where this makes sense for him, at least for the interim, and I don't know, you want to say something, Trey?
No, I mean, I agree, man. I said this months ago or last month. I can't remember. It was months ago where I was like, yo, this ban is on the 19th, but he'll be going into office like right after that. So what I was saying was like, unless they like really shut it down, he has an opportunity to, make something happen behind the scenes. And sure enough, this is exactly what's happening. And so I don't know. We'll see, but I didn't get a chance to look into it. But apparently, this same thing has happened in India, where they banned TikTok. And I wanted to my goal was to actually look at what happened over there and what. Now I know it's a lot more strict. You know what I mean? Like they make stuff happen over there when they need to. So I know it's a lot more strict, but nonetheless, it was banned over there. And so I just want. Sometimes you can project the future by looking at things that happened in the past, and I just didn't get a chance to look, but yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah, now I think that the whole thing, especially if we relate this to Trump, I mean, who was the person that started the whole TikTok ban in the first place? Keep in mind, like this all started in Trump's first term. Like he announced that he wanted to ban TikTok back when he was first president. So we wouldn't be going through this whole thing. We're essentially going through something that was created by a person, and all for it to just be back to the same place that we were. It was like. I mean, like, I don't want to call it a distraction, right? Because, I mean, yes, it did impact content creators, but for the time that it went down, that's about the same time for, like, for example, when we had that outage for Facebook, back in the day that affected people, right? I mean, it was a 1 day outage, that impacted some folks, but at the same time, like, where it's a lot of articles out there are saying that it's kind of like a publicity stunt, especially the fact that it was started by the same person who now flipped and said, "Oh, I actually like TikTok," when not that long ago, 4 years ago, it was, "I don't like TikTok and we should ban it." So, and I think that is just kind of the nature that we're in, where we're like, we all have kind of the short-term memory of like, people on one side flipping to another side,
Yep.
flipping to another side, and it just makes you wonder, like, if everyone's on this side, then they're on that side, and they're on this side, like, how does any of this affect any of our community? Considering that, like, in our community, we have alternatives to TikTok that rarely get any shine. Like, we got Fanbase, which is Black owned, we got Black Rise, a Black owned social media, and we have plenty of other Black owned social media websites that, just never get any press out there. So my final thoughts is I just hope that we all kind of see this as that we all start to see this as an interesting publicity stunt, and we should maybe try to start to amplify our own apps and all of that to protect ourselves and diversify from companies that might switch hands, money might switch hands, but nothing really changes in the end.
As the prophet Dion would say, "Must be the money," and I think that
Yeah,
definitely
man.
is the case. I'm gonna go to the comment section because this is actually ties into what I was gonna say next. But Tech Coach Ralph says, "I still think that CCs or content creators should make adjustments by taking one stream of income, but taking one stream of income always still hurts. That's true. That's true." And then Darcel actually agreed. He said, I never made a TikTok account, but for people who use it, we have known for a while it may be banned. Some kind of preparation needed to be done just in case it happened. Hashtag proactive." And then Tech Coach
Yes.
Ralph also adds, it was probably a negotiation tactic until he lost in 2020. So
Yeah.
I think that might be
Yeah.
the case because I don't have the video to put it up there, but I definitely saw a video yesterday of President Trump saying, I was looking at the numbers and the views. He said the billions of views. TikTok is so beautiful. He was talking about how beautiful it was and how he was looking at all the views. So it's about the money. You know that at the end of the day, he's like, listen, let's negotiate this 50% here, and you could do whatever you want. Apparently, so that's what it
It's
sounds like.
bro, it's so fun. I'm glad Ty brought it up. A lot of time, and it goes back to kind of what I was saying earlier with, back in the day, you didn't have the news so readily available, so it was easy to miss a whole lot that was going on behind the scenes. And then now we get so much news that
Mhm.
it's easy to forget, what's happening or what has happened in the past. And so, you know, when it comes to this, like he said, I remember when he was saying what he was saying about TikTok, um, in like 2020 and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
now it's kind of flipped. But we've seen this pattern like literally throughout history when it comes to that side of the when it comes to them, we've seen that. It didn't really matter who it was, right? Like whether it's this with Trump, right, where literally 4 years ago it was a totally different tune to now. What Biden, way back in the 90s, and when he brought in the crime bills and stuff,
Yep.
and now trying to flip it. Or I mean, if you really go back, he was a part of the education stuff when it comes to the college, payments and making those payments come in. And then now, that he was trying to fix the stuff that he, was a part in setting up in the first place. So, I mean, we see this stuff throughout, and we can go, I mean, it can go on and on no matter who it is. It's just one of those things where, like Ty was saying, ultimately, you got to literally read, you need to look, be knowledgeable, and understand, hey, maybe they have a different agenda than what you have. So you might need to do what's best for you. And that might be getting on another platform, getting on a platform that, hey, is here for you for sure, because it's made by people who look like you. Or maybe you need to for sure spread it out. Like I think Tech Coach Ralph was saying, like, you don't need to just be on one. If you're a content creator, like, I agree with him. You had a long time. You had a long time to get something together as far as
Research. Yep.
moving your audience over to multiple platforms, getting it spread out. So that's a whole other thing. But nonetheless, we this is nothing new. It's just I don't know, different time, different person, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. And we're going to continue this conversation because there's a lot more to be had here. But we're going to pause right now to go to one of our favorite segments. That is the Tech Wire, formerly known as a bulletin board, where we basically share with you the amazing events that are happening down the line that are for you, for you, for you. And we have actually the founder here, Ty Smith of blacktechglobal.com. So visit blacktechglobal.com, your premier directory for all tech events, mixers, and everything in between. Go ahead to can't speak this morning. blacktechglobal.com for more. So I'm going to save a special event that we have today for an exclusive, but I'm going to go through the rest that I have for the rest of the month here, which is not that much. But we have Black Tech Saturdays that are happening in Detroit, $0 down. That's January 25th. 2 days later, we have City Tech Talk, Data Security, and FinTech Mixer, which is happening in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, all my Georgians out there, $0. Then we have also happening on the 28th, Wonder Tech Fest that you can check out. It's virtual only and it's $100. And then last for the month, we have January 30th, Mixer Cloud at Dallas Tech Industry Mixer. That's happening. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas. Just $20 for that event. So you definitely want to check out for events that are happening in the month of February. Even though it's a short month, they do have a couple events there. They're going to have more that's going to be added. So you want to check that out. Now, today we have an event that's happening. So if you were not aware, I wanted to make you aware of this event that's happening. And it's actually going to be, I believe it's virtual for this event as well. $0 to be part of it, but it's a National Black AI Literacy, AI and the Dream 25. And it's happening here, as you can see, in remembrance of Martin Luther King, who had a dream that one day everybody will be able to be literate in AI. I'm just kidding, but literally that's part of what this event is about, right? So we want to definitely make sure that if this is something that you're interested in, you could register for today. It starts at 9 a.m. I believe this is Eastern time, right, Ty? Is that Eastern
Yeah,
time? 9
yeah.
a.m.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah. It
and
should be 9 a.m. Eastern time.
perfect. And you can see that there's different topics that are going to be that we're going to be speaking about. So, for example, using JD Content Creation Power Hour, using it Girl GPT Academy, and my best AI tools to build a successful brand. These are people that are going to be speaking. Here are the speakers here. As you can see, there's some friends of the show. Eric Brown Jr. is going to be here. John Passamore is going to be here from Latimer.ai. So there's definitely going to be a few people that you could probably might recognize that are going to be speaking about this. So you want to check it out for yourself and learn more about the event, and see if there's something that you are interested in. There's multiple subjects throughout the day. So again, this is a virtual event that is $0. Go ahead and jump on that. And Ty, I know that you know the event owner and a few other people. Is there anything else you want to say about this particular organization or the event itself?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This is an amazing organization. Just to give anyone the backstory, depending on how much of an AI buff that you are, but the Black AI think tank was like the original experimental AI group that kind of started in Clubhouse. So if anyone is familiar with King Wallonius, which is the creator, the original creator of the song, the BBL Drizzy, not the one that Metro Boomin used. Metro Boomin
Hmm.
sampled it, but the actual non-sampled version that was made by someone named King Wallonius, who was actually part of the original Black AI think tank, with Stefan and a few of the other members that you're going to see in there. So this movement has been going on for a few years. It's growing. They have plenty of events that they do online. This is one of them. Their whole mission is really just to provide up-to-date AI content. If anyone is really like curious of like, hey, like what are African Americans doing in the AI industry? Like where are the Black tech founders? I mean, keep in mind, for a fun fact for anyone who wants to know, like, hey, like why is Black people in AI important? You probably can't name a Black-owned billion-dollar tech company. I can name two, but
Mm-hmm.
most people can't name any. So, the whole point of this is really we have an opportunity with the next frontier of AI. We have companies like ChatBlack GPT, we have Lattimore AI by John Passmore, we have all these new entities that are coming up. And at the moment right now, they're giving away their entire sauce. We're talking about like free information, free workshops. It may not be like that
Mm.
next year, and these people may not be as accessible next year, but right now, like you're literally in the building stage of watching folks build potentially billion-dollar companies. I think it's so cool to watch. We're like living in modern day history. So that is my pitch for everyone to pull up, check out one of these segments. There's a lot of cool people to just get involved with. So, and follow them on LinkedIn if you can't make the session, because you'll see plenty of their content on LinkedIn.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And again, if you want that link, you have to go to blacktechglobal.com. Go to blacktechglobal.com. It's the first event that you'll see on the website, blacktechglobal.com, and you'll be able to see that there. And is this Erin herself? It looks like Erin. AI knows something. And it's Erin Chat Black GBT in the building. Listen, I use Chat Black GBT.
There she is.
Especially for stuff for the channel. So I'm so glad that you stopped by. Yeah, living legend.
Future billionaire in your chat right there.
History in the making. History in the making, right? So definitely want to have you on the show one of these days to share all that you've been doing behind the scenes, because people need to know. And definitely glad that you're able to stop by and share that as well. She said, hi, hello. Yeah, definitely happy to have you on. It means something special. I look at Tech Coach Ralph. He said I should make an MLK AI tool. I wonder how that will look. Would it be Martin Luther King talking to us like you cloned yourself? Let's find out more about that. So maybe you might put it on his channel. And if you didn't know, Tech Coach Ralph has his own channel where he basically goes on and talks about things in QA and in software development and things of that nature and AI. So definitely go check out Tech Coach Ralph. Always want to highlight the great stuff that he is doing there. And so definitely check out Tech Coach Ralph on YouTube at his channel. And it's literally youtube.com/@Tech Coach Ralph. And so that is it if I can speak properly, for the Black Tech Global Rundown, the Tech Wire. So definitely lock in with us, tune in for us for more on that. And we're going to go back to the subject of the TikTok ban, because it is important. There's a lot of things to cover in this, and we kind of touched on it before, but we're going to dive deeper onto the allegations. And I'm going to say allegations first, if y'all want to come for me, come for us, regarding Meta hiring a GOP firm to run anti-TikTok campaign. So Meta, as you heard, the parent company of Facebook, reportedly hired Targeted Victory, a Republican consulting firm, to conduct a campaign aimed at discrediting its competitor TikTok. Now, the campaign sought to frame TikTok as a dangerous platform, particularly for young users, in an effort to shift public scrutiny away from Meta. Now, let me pause here and say, the fact that the CEO of TikTok said he wanted to give it to his children does say something as well. But I'm going to keep on going. So basically, what this campaign looked like, I know they all say that, right? Everybody that has this, I won't give my kids an iPhone. Anyway, the consulting firm was tasked with promoting the narrative that TikTok, as a foreign-owned app, poses significant risk to America. That's one thing. Then there's media manipulation, in which letters to the editors of local newspapers, such as the Denver Post or Des Moines Registry, or however it's pronounced, were submitted to amplify concerns about TikTok's impact on children's mental health. We have negative coverage. We have deflecting criticism, political influences. The list goes on. And so Meta spokesperson Andy Stone defended the campaign, allegedly stating that all platforms, including TikTok, should be subject to scrutiny consistent with their growing success. Glad he said that. And TikTok's response: TikTok expressed concerns that stoking fires through local media reports on alleged trends could result in real world harm.
Crazy, bro. What's crazy. I love seeing it. I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad, but I actually love seeing it, because this is how we continue to push forward, and what we have, and the tools that we end up getting is these tech gang wars, is what I call them. Okay, it's tech gang wars, because they're always fighting. You know, they're always going after each other, whether it's individuals or companies in a whole. They're always going at each other. But what does that do for us, the consumers? Is it continues to make sure that they're putting out the best product that they can. I don't know if you remember this. I think this was like last week. Last week, what happened? Apple got criticized by a certain individual on a big podcast. I'm just gonna say it. Don't come for me, y'all, please. But basically, we had our guy Mark Zuckerberg. He literally went in on Apple a little bit on Joe Rogan's podcast, and what did they say? They instantly, like, it was like almost immediately, they're like, yo, we rolling out new products. We're
Yep.
rolling out new product, all because he said, yo, they haven't did much
They're not
in a long
innovative
time.
enough. Mhm.
And so, it's one of those things, they're always going at each other. They're always, going back and forth, but it's necessary. Anyways, we
Yeah.
can keep going.
Yeah. And Ty, I know you're here. I don't know if anything you want to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I I can't help to think that it's still kind of like it's almost, it reminds me of the WWE. I feel like I don't know if anybody watches wrestling, whether
Yeah.
it's the new era of the WWE or the old era of the WWF. So,
Oh
for
man.
those of you that aren't familiar with wrestling, you have a big, propped up, mega superstar, whether it's The Rock, you have someone else like Stone Cold or Shawn
This
Michaels,
is
and
exactly what it is.
they're yelling at each other, in on a big stage, and they're making fun of each other. They're coming at each other. They're literally fighting or play fighting, on live and on TV and in front of an audience. But behind the
Huge.
scenes with all of these wrestlers, it's like they're all hanging out, going over each other's houses for Christmas and giving, hanging out with each other's kids, giving them birthday gifts and all of that, while we're occupied in it, right, we are entertained in that, and it's part of it. I mean, just like a movie or whichever. But
Yeah.
I question if that should be the case when it comes to multi-billionaires of companies that are actively, freely just laying people off left and right.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg, hey, I'm
Yeah.
gonna lay off 5% of the bottom performers just because, not, hey, I'm gonna find out why our bottom
Yeah.
performers are like that. Maybe they're dealing with issues
Mhm.
with their manager. Maybe there's some HR things that they're afraid to report for retaliation. Maybe there's some things that might be occurring with additional resources that they need to perform their job. It's just, no, no, I'm gonna lay off the bottom performers. All right, we're gonna mass hire today. We're gonna lay off tomorrow. I mean, like there was a content creator that posted something about how companies are mass hiring and mass laying off at the same time, which is ironic how that's
That's
becoming
wild. Yeah.
the norm. But yeah, I just think that, like, while all of this is going on, we have these like WWE antics, I feel like, to just distract us on the fact that, I have friends from Meta that worked at Meta last month. I don't know if they work at Meta right now. I don't know if they'll be working at Meta 2 months from now. Who knows,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like, it's just this revolving door of all of these entities. And yeah, I just feel like more accountability needs to be done when it comes to that. And really, like, more, I think, just like for example, like how I want to see these CEOs is I want to see them with their employees, because I question what percentage of your employee base has actually met you, has actually spent
Man,
time
Mm.
with you as a CEO. Like, if we were
huge.
to run that metric across all of these companies, what would the number be? 0.001%, 0.05%, 0.03%. So these
Yeah.
are all things, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, well, Ty, they have 500,000 employees, they have 100,000 employees. How are you going to do it?" But it's just like,
Don't matter.
I mean, put
Find a way.
80,000 in a stadium and then do it again and just walk around and shake hands with people. And I mean, like, I think Usher has probably met more fans than some of these CEOs have met their employees.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah. Yeah. And bro, it's wild you said that. You don't see it a lot anywhere, but one thing that stood out to me, I used to work at this. I used to work on the pharmacy side of a dialysis center, a big dialysis center, or a company called DaVita. But nonetheless, we were the pharmacy piece, so we weren't even like the main, like, deal. I mean, we were big, but we weren't the main deal. Either way, where I'm getting at is it took me back because I'd never seen this before. The CEO always made it a point to get around, like what you were just mentioning, to come in, speak to the people, um, do what he needs to do as far as getting information out, and then also stick around and do his thing. Now, this guy's making 10 plus million a year, and could easily stay in the headquarters in I think it was Denver, but made it a point to go around to different spaces that would house a good majority of the individuals that work for the company to come in and speak to us. And come and be with the people. And one thing that I've always just thought on like the marketing side of things, even if it's not a marketing play. And for me though, I was like, yo, this makes so much sense for him to do this. It's a few hours, but I'm listening to the people. Like when we leave the meeting, I'm listening to him like, man, that was crazy, right? Like, I can't believe he was right there. Like the stuff that's rumbling, that it keeps you going. It keeps them engaged. It keeps you locked on the goal when you have the leader not just talking on a big screen, like he's actually in the building or she's actually there. So I agree with you, man. It definitely, there should be stuff like that happening. It's so easy to do it, but a lot of times the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do.
Yeah. I always wonder like how many people are going to go to their like deathbeds and just never have met a CEO of the company that they worked at, any company.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
poured out
it's
their heart to it, blood, sweat, and tears.
yeah, because
That's
I mean, I've never met a CEO of a company I've worked at.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about working at a small company. I remember the first SKO we had, our CEO was there, and I had a chance to sit with him for lunch and ask him, "Hey, what keeps you up at night?" And he's like, "Nothing does." He's like, "I sleep sound because I know we got a great product out here. We rock it." And he's that type of person. He's very eccentric, but it's that is needed more, no matter what level of it is. Like, how do you find a way to connect with your employees? How do you find a way to connect with your audience and really understand their pain points besides just what you see on a sheet or a spreadsheet and say, okay, this is what it is. This is how many employees are, because they're going to be moving from an actual number to a name to a family. They're going to be moving to a name to a story, or number to a story. I mean, and so you definitely want to do that. I'm going to go to the comment section before going back to a couple of things that I wanted to say, but this is one that got my attention here for sure. Tesla released a Cybertruck. Apple released the same phone, the same iPhone, and that's how
it's
it
because they know
feels.
they can.
And I was telling him it got smaller and it got more expensive. So, it is what it is in that regard. And also was mentioned here, he said, I think employees need to become more shrewd and business minded and learn from how their CEOs operate. And this is a
Yeah.
great point
Hmm.
that I'm going to pass. I'm going to say something real quick and then I'm going to pass it over to you guys. But I had a conversation with somebody who recently joined my organization. And actually, funny enough, this person was not funny enough, but I'm glad this person was a black man from the same state as myself, and he gave some really great advice that I've heard before, but in this point of my career, I said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. Is really kind of that ownership, the understanding that you're the CEO of you. So you need to set up some parameters for yourself. You need to set up okay, this is my plan of how I'm going to take and utilize the time that I'm here, and then express that to your manager. Say, hey, manager, this is what I'm planning to do while I'm here. This is the numbers I'm planning to bring out. Create your own plan, create your own way of doing it, and understand, like, even when it comes to, and actually, this is somebody else that I was speaking to as well, a mutual friend of ours. What up, Ronell? Who I was speaking to, who basically said, listen, you're the CEO of yourself, right? You have to understand that when you're especially in a sales position, the relationships that you're building, you're moving from transactional and you're moving into more of a relational aspect of it, where you're taking this book of business with you from wherever you go. And so that was a great way for me to think about just what I do in sales, but that's really in life. In any sense, you want things to be less transactional and more relational than anything. How can you help this person? How can you support this person on what they're doing? And I know I'm kind of going off a little bit of the subject matter, but it's a really good reminder, as we're all either working in tech or not, or we're doing something else on the side. How can you make this non-transactional relationship move from one stage to another stage where you're basically able to talk with them and play golf and do all different things, because you have to took the time, the intentionality, and the authenticity that it takes to build that relationship. And so just want to say that before I pass it over to Ty and everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, it definitely, I think, it goes two ways, and it goes like I mean, it goes up, down, and it goes left and right, because I always think about just I mean, not that long ago, 2 years ago. I mean, like when we first chatted, Joseph, like, I mean, I didn't know really anybody outside of like my sphere of, just working in telecom. Like I had friends in like, Comcast, friends at Cox Communications, and that was it. I didn't know people at Microsoft, Google, all of that. And, I took it upon myself to take a risk and, take me and my wife to Afrotech, and we met tons of people, a lot of people, from all different companies, all different walks of life, learned about stuff that we would have never knew. I mean, like we thought like our salary levels were, top tier. We're hearing about people making like 6 times more, like just crazy stuff, 700,000 a year employees that work at like, Amazon and all sorts of stuff that like were just out of this world. And, I think for us, that gave us really just a new just mindset coming back. As people know, like my wife made a lot of strategic decisions on jumping strategically to different companies, to level up. I made some strategic decisions on my side, but it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for really building some of those real relationships with different folks that were, to the left and right, vertically across different companies, vertically up, leaders at different companies as well, to get their perspective. Because at the end of the day, it's like you have to do that. I mean, like we are in a great time right now. I mean, a lot of people don't talk about this, but there is no more non-competes. Non-competes are over. So you can
Yes.
literally,
Yes.
be working at a company. You could be talking to another company, the competitor, and be like, hey, like, what's the cost for me to come over? Like, I know hundreds and hundreds of people. I'm from the channel sales industry. For those that want to do research on that industry, that's what the channel sales industry is all about. That's what people do. It is largely you're at a company, you're the competitor, you're networking with them at a networking event, and it's just people jumping back and forth, year after year after year and leveling up. And now with no non-competes, we have that opportunity to do that because, you have to personally have your own game plan, because trust that your CEO and CFO and all that have their game plan too. And you may not be a part of that game
Hmm.
plan. So just in case, you have to have your backup game plan just in case.
Man, boy, I hope they heard what you just said. I hope they heard what you just said. And y'all, if you didn't understand what he just said fully, get on Chat GPT, hit him up, something. But like the non-competes is crazy. It's crazy. Okay.
Yep.
If you can work it right, you have skills already. You remember that, y'all. You already have skills, you already have things that you know how to do. Non-compete opened it up for you. Like there are certain periods in time that open up crazy alleyways for people to walk through, for people to grow up. And if you miss them, then you gotta wait. You gotta wait till another time period. And this is one that in multiple lanes there are big alleyways open, and so we just need to make sure that we're taking advantage of those um, for you and your family. Because
Yeah.
nobody else is gonna do it. You mentioned, Ty, that the CEOs might not have it, what you're thinking in mind, and like what you want for your life, they might not have that same thing for you. They
Hmm.
probably have you, they in their mind, you're probably exactly where you are, right? So you have to make sure you know where you want to be, and if that lines up with what they have for you, and if it doesn't, I might need to move around.
Yeah.
uh you know
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And like one thing to add on the non-competes, I had someone reach out and they were like, "Hey, like I just got laid off at this cable company. What should I do?" And I was just like, "Did you apply to the competitors?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You're good. Like, don't worry about it." He was like, "Are you sure?" He was like, "What about this? What about that? Should I look at this?" Like, you're good. Like you
yeah.
were at this cable company for 2 or 3 years. You have tons of inside information. There was no non-competes. These two companies want that information that you have, so you're gonna get hired at either one. And then within a week, he got 2 job offers from both
Look at
companies,
that.
and he's
Wow.
currently deciding between both. Like that's what the power of no non-competes is. Know the competitor of your company and make sure you have relationships over there.
Know the competitor of your company and make sure you have relationships over there. I'm gonna go to this comment real quickly before I say something else. But Tech Coach Ralph said, I think employees need to become more shrewd and business minded and learn from how their CEOs operate. Bell notification, ring it, absolutely. And it reminded me of something that I wanted to say as we're having this conversation. And y'all, we're almost done, y'all. But definitely stick longer with us because it's a holiday, so we're not rushing out of here. But definitely start locking with us. We have a few more stuff we're going to talk about. But what I wanted to say was timing, how important timing is to everything, and in recognizing the trends, recognizing what is happening in order to make that transition. Because, and in fact, um, I wanted to share. I actually stopped by an old employee the other day. I actually had some equipment in my house that I found when I was cleaning up, and I said I wanted to bring it back to them. And I got a chance to meet some familiar friends and faces, and we walked around the office. And this is 2020 when I first joined that company. And I walked around the office. I got a tour of it, and basically what was shown to me was this was a huge room, a huge call center, had about 150, maybe 200 people there from various aspects of the call center. It was a ghost town. They went virtual, right? And this particular set of in this particular industry, it was booming. People were making 100 grand. People were coming in with sports cars and all sorts of stuff. And they said, "Man, we can't even make that much sales now if we wanted to because the timing of that industry, what was going on, and it was in the pandemic, and so much things were happening. And so the timing of things is so important. Understanding the timing is something that I think we need to talk more about. When do we, like for example, with fan base, I want to go back to them. The timing of TikTok kind of declining, improve fan base. I'm going to use this now. I know we have Black Rise, we have others we could talk about, and shout out to Black Rise as well. I'm on both of them, fan base and Black Rise. So, but the timing of it was what really allowed it to shoot up in regards to its popularity and bring attention to the fact that, hey, listen, this is a community, this is a social media platform where you're not only going to be able to put your content on there, but you can make money quick and you can invest in the company. And so I think when it comes to timing, specifically for people, employees, looking at what's happening in the market and positioning yourself almost all the time, being like aware of what's going on is so important. I think Ty, you're really good about that. You're really good at spotting trends and spotting things and even looking at history's past to forecast the future. We need to be more shrewd and business minded in that way as well.
Yeah, yeah. I 1,000% agree, and I 1,000% agree with what you said on timing, especially with the call center thing, because that was my generation. That's how I came up. I came up in the era of the call
Mm-hmm.
centers, and people making $200,000 selling internet. Like in those days, like wasn't that long ago. I don't want to date myself, but
Yeah.
that was 2012, 2013, 2014 in those days. But yeah, those days are gone. You can't find a single person doing a fraction of those numbers nowadays. And yeah, I definitely think that it's really important to one recognize that timing goes both ways. There's also patience as well, because I see some people like trying to
Mm.
jump too quick, be before the wave. Some people are too early, when it comes to stuff. But also like recognize like when the first just rumblings of that wave is happening, like just try to get to know like the people behind stuff too, because that's how I kind of like judge certain movements I'm gonna jump on. Like I really just judge the people and judge the characters of the people, because like based on certain people and certain personalities and certain values, and really get the time to know them. Like as you all know, like I go to a ton of conferences, and yes, like I love to network and I love to hear the panels and all of that, but sometimes for me, like there's founders at these particular conferences, and this is like inside information that I don't even think I've ever said like live, but there are founders at some of these conferences that sometimes I just like to go and meet and spend time with them, and just to see the character of the person, because based on the
Mm.
character, that determines to me if I'm going to continue to invest time
Huge.
into working with what they're doing, recommending folks to their platform and all of that, and just really kind of like just really telling folks to get behind it and really following it, because sometimes like there are platforms that are going to come up, but not everything that comes up stays up. Some things come up and it comes down. So
Mm-hmm.
Fast.
but I think it goes the same with companies as well. Sometimes you have to really go out and meet these owners of these companies and really get their inside information and see how they really operate off camera, and really try to understand like if their values align with yours, and if there's a value match
Mm.
there, then you might be better off. It may not be always like the pay that you want or whatever, but in the long run, you're better off matching yourself to the values of the person that runs the company that you're aspiring to associate yourself with.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's a really good point. And I want to go to his comments real quickly because I thought it was important. He said, in addition to what you want, you also be looking at how a company operates. Kind of going to what you were saying, Ty, in regards to character and how they attract customers, how they break down their financials, how to carry yourself as a business. And he says, I'm about to go calculate my own EBITDA. So that'll be that. That's a good point there for sure. Trey, you wanted to say something as we continue?
Nah, man. No, this is good stuff.
Yeah, this is great, and I know this is something else. I want to give a shout out to Fanbase, to Black Rise, and to other platforms that kind of took positions in this time and said, "Hey, listen, we're here. Invest in us. We're growing, and listen, y'all. This is a good opportunity to see that. Listen, something like TikTok could come and it can be taken away. What is your secondary, third, or fourth options?" And I got I don't know if you guys know him. I got to shout out a content creator that I love named Certified Samson. He's a Trinidadian-born comedian and businessman, and he has diversified. Like I talk about diversified. Like when I saw TikTok go down, I'm like, I'm not worried about him. He ended up doing a collaboration with Vibes Cartel on his Instagram and YouTube, and he got like 2.4 million views on that in like a day. So just shout out to Certified Samson. And if y'all know him, definitely check out his content. It's hilarious. But it just shows you that diversification is so important. And he built that channel for over 12 years, so it makes sense. But he diversified enough where he has what 600,000 followers on YouTube. He has 890,000 followers on Instagram, and then he has something on TikTok. But when TikTok goes on, it's like, all right, it's not a big deal. I still got these other channels that I'm rocking with. So diversification is so important. I know that we have an AI tool of the week that we could talk about as well. You want to talk about that, Trey?
I didn't know if we had time to, but I can do it really quick. I mean, I'm just saying I can do it really quick.
We could save it too.
I think we have. Yeah.
Whatever you prefer to do. Because
speaking of AI tool, we have a comment in the chat.
Oh, snap. Thank you.
There you go. One of my favorite AI tools, ChatBlackGPT. So
yeah,
ChatBlackGPT by Aaron Reddick. Follow Aaron Reddick on LinkedIn, by the way.
Yes, and I'm going to put it on right now.
And she also just said something. Put it up. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they also need to look very closely at the feedback that trends after these surges. It was an opportunity for so much free UX research. It really was. You're absolutely right. Like, okay, what has happened? Who's moving over? Who's migrating? How was the transfer of information? How did the platform handle it? Did the platform crash? Like, there's a lot of different things that can be taken from that. And Tech Coach Ralph totally agrees. Says some good points there. Good point, actually. Yeah, that's an absolutely great point. Anything you guys want to touch about this subject since you're on?
I mean, go ahead, Ty.
No, I was gonna let you take it. Yeah.
The only thing I was gonna say is, even if you, because I mean, I know some people aren't in business, or some people don't maybe necessarily look at that side, but we have to start learning how to see things for more than they are, or in different aspects of it, from different angles. This is all she's talking about.
Yeah,
like you're saying, like, hey, this is what's happening, but there's a whole lot of other stuff happening over here, and if you can see this, that's when you cannot get shaken. Like when you can see the writing on the wall in certain spots, and you know how to adapt and move and pivot, then that can help you not get as shaken as someone who their whole, like, I mean, you were talking about the Samson guy. Maybe he started building years ago because
over a decade ago. Yeah.
So maybe a decade ago, he saw something else happen when something got taken down for a day, right? Maybe a platform went down and he couldn't post his show for a day, and it's like, you know what? This might happen again, or it could happen longer, or it could just take the whole platform. What am I going to do? Let me diversify. So sometimes, when things happen, look at the other things that are going on, behind the scene. That's been the theme here, even throughout the whole thing, right? Even if we go back to the beginning segment, there's something that's happening in the news, but then there's also other things going on behind the scenes that that are making all the changes happen and all the stuff go around. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Look very closely.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for anyone, that's listening that is on like the engineering and product development and all of that side. I mean, yeah, every time you go to these conferences, you meet so many people that are like, hey, I'm an engineer, I'm a software developer. Like, it's makes up of so much of people in tech, aspiring in tech and all of that. I mean, like like what Aaron's saying, you could really learn about these companies and things that you want to build just from the passes and the successes and failures of these companies and the
Yeah.
successes and failures on a micro level to certain communities, because yes, they may be successful at one community, but they might have upset another community because of a certain reason. Maybe there's a gap there to fill. Like
Mm,
if you look at the chat Black GPT story, chat GPT was very successful with many different communities, but there was a community
yeah,
in particular that was not happy at how Black people were being portrayed in ChatGPT, when
information.
it's like, generate an image of an astronaut, and you weren't seeing anyone that looks like us pop up, or
Hmm.
generate it like for me, it was like generate an entire room of tech professionals at a tech conference, and nobody looked like us. So but
Yeah,
that's where a gap came, and she said, hey, there's a segment of people that aren't happy with this. Let me fill that gap and build something and use that public discourse
Hmm.
as basically free UX research and design something that can fill that gap. And I think there's opportunities for that all the time if we're just paying attention.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Totally
was
agree.
just I was talking with my homie. We went to lunch on Friday, man, and I was telling him, um, opportunities opportunities are always out in plain sight. We just have to have ourselves tuned to opportunities. So for me, I told him, I was like, I give out ideas to people all the time, like that just pop in my head,
Hmm.
that might not even pertain to me. I can't do it, but I know this person can. Like, yo, you need to get on this. You need to do this or
Yeah.
try this out. But I'm open to opportunities. I set it up to where I say this: opportunities come freely, and I'm open to opportunities coming, and whether it's for me or not. Now here's what's crazy, bro. The times that we're moving in, the opportunities, I'm an idea guy, so sometimes ideas just pop in. It might not be for me, and I just pass it along. But as AI keeps moving forward and things keep progressing, the idea person now has the opportunity to just do the whole thing, just because AI has moved on. So yeah, be open to ideas and opportunities. Keep your eyes open. They're always around us. Anytime it's something negative going on, it's probably an opportunity there. Now, whether or not it's for you, that's up to you and how you move and the opportunities. But there's always something there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
1000%
Absolutely.
agree.
And Erin said, oh, exactly. Also, thank you for the shout out, by the way. This year, we are planning big things. And funny enough, you said that. I was planning to really show people how to get to you. So let's do that real
Yeah, do it.
quickly.
Yeah,
So we on ChatGPT, y'all. As you can see, I already have it here. Why? Because I use Chat Black GPT. But for everybody else who wants to figure out how to do it, you go to your ChatGPT, you go to Explore, and you simply type it in, Chat Black
that's it.
GPT Beta, and you are all set to go. And then when you click on it here, you're able to access it like if you would normally access ChatGPT, and you could access things pertaining to you. I use it for some of our show notes to kind of get a different feel about how I want to say something. And look, Erin's name's right there. You go to her LinkedIn too and
Yeah,
connect and all that jazz. So definitely go to
and keep it in your
ChatGPT.
sidebar.
Yeah, keep it
Pin
right
it to
here.
your sidebar.
You can pin it right here as well. And yeah, keep it in your sidebar right there. It's
Yeah,
all there for
yeah,
you. So it's easy to find. You don't have to go
it's
far
in mine.
and it's right there already. So just definitely go ahead and check it out for yourself because it's a tool that is accessible to you ahora, right now. So definitely go and do that. And we appreciate you for sure for everything that you do, Aaron. And yeah, man, history in the making. Like I said earlier, history in the making. History
Thousand
in
percent.
the making. Yeah. So listen, y'all. I think we're gonna say the AI tool for next week, since because of
No,
time.
that
You
was
just did it
it.
right
That
there.
was
Yeah,
it,
that was
bro.
it.
That was
That
it.
was it.
That literally was it. Now I think
Yeah,
about it. Now I think
yeah.
about it. But like a deeper dive, I was gonna say. But we definitely featured Black Chat GBT or Chat Black GBT. And for once you guys to definitely check it out. It's all love, Aaron. Love to have you on the show and interview you when the time is right, or even come out to where you're at. We'll work something out. But
Yeah.
anyway, as I was going to say, we want to definitely support those creators that are doing great things. I want to remind everyone that today we do have the event that we talked about earlier, the National Black AI Literacy Event, AI and the Dream 25. It is happening today, $0 In fact, I just registered as of a second ago. So I am all set for that. Whoops, I registered twice. No worries, it's all good. But definitely get a chance to be a part of that and see if you could definitely join that community and make connections there as well. And so, with that being said, y'all, I'm gonna round up the show with the not the black, but the brown box special. And so, if you're not familiar, the brown box special is a segment of the show where we talk about stories of people getting laid off, fired, or sometimes even rehired. But in this case, rearranged in the organization. Why do we do that? Because we want to humanize people and their experiences and also make sure you feel like you're not alone if you're going to experience being hired, fired, or quitting your job, right? Because we all have either gone through it, will go through it, and it's something that we could humanize. It's something that we could just relate to. So this story actually comes from Kiora, and it says that not fired per se, but often reassigned. I spent 20 years in the military. One of my supervisors, on realizing I was essentially a lazy guy, put me in charge of a shop in a distant part of the shop. No one had really paid attention to the processes in years. So lazy man that I was, I dug into work out the easiest, most expeditious way to do the work. Took about a month, but most of it reading manuals and regulations. I completely streamlined everything, including our reporting, eliminating redundancies, and revamping workflows. I did the 3 weeks to train the staff to how to follow new procedures, and I could do the whole job in about 8 hours a week. Talk about efficiency. So while my boss wasn't going to have me sit on my rump for the other 32 hours, so he moved me again. Same result. A third time, I was getting the hang of it. I was down to 6 hours a week. We need him in the government. In a sheer Puritan frustration, he sent me to the department's head office to do admin work. Bad choice on his part. I quit paying any attention to the 3 shops I've been in, and they didn't need it. In the meantime, I become indispensable to my new boss by arranging things so he could do his job in just a few hours a week. They gave me extra duties as assigned, quote unquote. Well, those were mostly simply enough paying attention to the written procedures and manuals and keeping in mind that the actual goals, instead of this is how we've done it, let me go back to being lazy in the short order. So basically, they're trying to quench his soul. So sad. I was up to maybe 10 hours a week, and that was mostly delivering verbal reports. Maintenance standards were ridiculously high, and my people got a lot of time off because the work got done faster and ever before. And me, no one ever saw me actually doing anything. I just wandered around, a cup of coffee in my hand, dropping a hint here and there and a word there, and sitting in the mess and catching up the occasional phone. My evals made me look like a lazy, incompetent person because they used the wrong metrics. But anywhere I was assigned, actual productivity rose, downtime dropped, and everyone got more time off. A lot of my bosses got commendations for improvements, and I had it implemented. So they got pretty much celebrated for the stuff that he did. I eventually retired after doing some of the easiest time in the service, drawing 2 pensions in only 38 years. Drove my wife nuts doing the same thing at home before she kicked me out of the house. And that is
Oh
the
man,
end of that story. But that says a lot. That says a lot
yo,
right there.
that was great, bro.
Do I sound asleep,
Mainly,
Tech Coach Ralph? I didn't know I sounded asleep. He says I sound
yeah,
asleep.
He's like, man, you still need to get some more Z's with on Martin Luther King Day, man.
I
Sleep in a
mean,
little bit longer.
I gotta shovel the snow. I don't have a choice here.
Oh
But
man. Oh man. No, what I was gonna say though is it looks like he even though he didn't do it for himself, like sometimes you still need the brag book just in case. Because I've been this guy where, hey, I'm gonna do the work, I'm gonna do my like whatever I'm supposed to do, I'm gonna do it well. I'm not gonna say anything. They'll know for sure. The managers know, they gotta know I'm here. And over time, what happens is, yes, people start like most people start getting the juice, your juice, people start getting, ramped up over you and stuff like that, and you don't realize, oh, I even if this is not necessarily what I need, I'm going to do it just because they need to know who did it. And like, sometimes you do need those flowers. So have that brag book is what he needed to let him know, like, you know what? I did this in 10 hours, or like making sure the things that he was doing is written down in a book. So when that eval comes, yo, this was me. So I need the full, whatever it is y'all giving out, I need the full version of that. That's the only thing I say. Other than that, he did great, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, there's a tool out there. Just maybe this could future tool of the week, but work receipts is a tool that I recommend people
Love
looking
it.
into. So,
Love it.
it's by our community, and it helps out with that because you can put in all of your moments, the things that you've done, the good, the bad, all of that, but it just
Yeah,
inspires you to basically create a work journal for your entire time at work. So, work receipts for sure.
that's hard. I love that. Love it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I gotta look at that out. I didn't. Is that
Yeah.
Oh, that's through our friend KHR, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
KHR.
Zero.
Gotta get her
Yep.
on the show.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, she
awesome.
released that thing. She's like, listen, she's in HR. She's like, listen, you need to have receipts. So
You
if
need
something
this.
happens,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm good. I need that. I need
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Where am I downloading that from? Okay, KHR. I'm going right there. Y'all need to download that app. Let me just say that right now. But listen, y'all, this has been an amazing show. Thank you for Ty for waking up as early as you did. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness gracious, to join us on this very special segment. As you know, we've been having a series talking about TikTok and the updates leading up to this moment. So it's been extremely, extremely, extremely gracious of you to do this. And so we are very, very happy and honored that you would take the time out to do this. We say that from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you, big dog. For sure.
Absolutely, yo. And
Yeah.
what else? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying, yeah, I appreciate, all the support that you've had for me, just in general with the website and just all the people that, are in the circle and just everything you've done for the community. I mean, like, people need to know like these are the folks that are really doing the right thing for the tech community right now. So there's a lot of folks
Thank you.
out here, but I mean, you all are always number one on my list when it comes to content creators that are really giving back in an altruistic way and supporting the community. So I think it's important for everyone to know that.
Appreciate
you, big dog.
Appreciate that, man. That means a lot coming from you. I'm gonna say that much before my heart is getting soft. And I'm not falling asleep. My heart is getting soft, Tech Coach Ralph. That's all. He was like, I'm falling asleep. Anyway, y'all, appreciate you guys for rocking with us on Talk That Tech. This has been a great week. And tune with us next week. We're going to go live again Mondays at 7 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Central. Again, this is Talk That Tech, the
#1 tech morning show in the world. We'll see y'all next week, baby.
Yeah, peace and elbow grease.